everybody, happy Tuesday. And since it's Tuesday, as always, I am on Tumblr. So if any of you find Tumblr to be amazing and that's where you hang out, then Tuesday is your day. And so you can find me on there, you can follow my blog. I don't tend to post a ton of stuff, but I do sometimes. I reblog some fun things and I answer a lot of your questions. So I've already been on answering questions, and unless you, just for some people who are new, unless you ask a question anonymously, I don't post it. So I will always answer privately. So if any of you are like, I don't want to come up on my blog, it makes me really anxious. Don't worry, because I don't post things publicly unless it's anonymous, because then it automatically forces you to, because who else are you going to send it to, because it's anonymous. So I just share it. But the others I answer privately. So I've already been on and I've answered a lot of your questions, and I know it's a little earlier than usual, but I have to go to a clinic meeting this afternoon. And then I'm meeting some friends at Lucky Strike for some bowling, so I'm very excited about that. So I don't really have any time to come home and do it another time. So that's why I told you guys, just ask your questions on the day of, as early as you can. And then I go through quite a few anyway, so yeah. Okay, are you ready? I have a journal topic as well. And, oh, I didn't write down the person's name. Dang it. I'm sorry. But anyway, so I have 3 questions today in a journal topic, so let's get going. First question. Hello, Katie. Hello. What is atypical depression and how is it different from other types of depression? Now, I haven't actually talked about atypical depression, mostly because it's my belief, and this has nothing to do with diagnoses or anything, but it's my belief that everyone's depression, everyone's mental illness is expressed and felt differently from person to person. We're all very different and unique in the way that we feel things, the way we deal with things, the way the different things affect us. So atypical depression, I made some notes so I don't forget, because there are different types of symptoms that you tend to find more in atypical depression versus regular depression. Wow, that's a mouthful. And so oftentimes people with regular depression, like I've talked about in my depression video, if you want to know more about depression, I have a couple videos on them, so check it out. But the symptoms of atypical depression are sleeping too much when you have what they call hypersomnia, increased appetite or weight gain, and having more intense reactions or increased sensitivity to rejection, resulting in problems with social and work relationships. And a lot of people say they feel really weighted down, like they really can't do anything. They're like paralyzed with maybe fear or with their sadness, feeling so heavy with everything. So it's the same. Atypical depression, they still believe it's the same thing in our brain that's causing it to happen, if that makes sense. It's a chemical imbalance, and a lot of it can do with, there are some things, like I was just commenting to the person I think that asked this question, or another question, there are a lot of things that we can do to help with the chemical imbalance in our brain. One being adding certain things into our diets, another being certain yoga poses or stretches or exercises that will help, and the third obviously being medication. There are tons of SSRIs, SNRIs, all sorts of antidepressants and medications out there to help with that chemical imbalance that we're feeling. So that's really the way that atypical depression is different from regular depression, is that regular depression people have kind of like the opposite of the things I was talking about, like sleeping too much. A lot of people with depression have these ruminating thoughts at night and they struggle to sleep. Even though they're tired all day, they have a hard time actually sleeping through the night. And then increased appetite or weight gain. In regular depression and major depressive disorder, we find that people tend to not have as much of an appetite. Now, in my depression video, the characteristics of depression are sleeping too much or sleeping too little, eating too much or eating too little, because major depressive disorder is major depressive disorder. Atypical or not, we're all in the same boat. We're all feeling really down. Our symptoms may be just a little different. So a lot of people feel really blunted with the regular depression versus feeling really sensitive to certain things and feeling really emotional and struggling in relationships. So you can see how it's almost like the flip of some things. So some of us may feel like we want to sleep a lot more. Some of us may sleep a lot less. Some of us may want to eat more. Some want to eat less. And it just honestly depends on how depression affects us. Because at the end of the day, it's still depression. We just have a few different symptoms, almost like the flip side of the same coin. Okay? And if any of you have gone through with it and you have things that you've been told about that helped you better understand why they call it atypical depression, or if you have anything you want to input, as always, leave your comments below. But I think overall, I just want everyone to know that depression is depression, and we all experience it differently, and that's just technically what they call atypical depression. Okay? Question number 2. Hey Katie, they are thinking of stopping all my medication to see how my body will react while without them. What do you think? I'm a bit concerned. Wouldn't I withdraw or something? Now this really scared me, and it's something that I don't talk about medication that much, other than letting you know that it's an option, and that's because it's out of my standard of care. I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a medical doctor, therefore I don't prescribe medication. It's not legal. I can't do that. That's wrong. So if your therapist is telling you should get X medication, that's just bullshit. They should shut their mouth. I get really frustrated with that because that's not what my training is. I understand medication so that if you have a reaction, I can let your psychiatrist know or call your doctor or whatever, but I don't prescribe it. So why would I tell my patients what to take or not take? So, sorry, that's my soapbox moment. But to stop medication all of a sudden, to go off everything, if we're not monitored. Now, I don't know if this person's in the hospital still or not. I know that she was in the hospital before, but if you're being monitored, don't worry. If you're in the hospital or an inpatient and they want to wean you off your medications and stop some medications, that's fine. Stopping things drastically without titrating down can be really dangerous because we can go through withdrawal. Not all medications have withdrawal, but a lot of them do. So you want to ask your doctor, are there withdrawal symptoms from these medications? What side effects, if there is withdrawal, what can I expect? Because some of it might just be like, hot flashes of some sort or difficulty sleeping, but others could be like emotion volatility. And if we're suicidal already, or if we're already feeling emotionally volatile, it can make things a lot worse. And that's where I get worried. That's why I don't like people to stop medication at all without talking to their doctor, without titrating down, because withdrawal can be really dangerous. We may not have even been suicidal, but doing that can make us suicidal. And I just really worry in general because our body becomes used to having certain kinds of medication. And so we have to titrate down so that our body can compensate and do what it was doing before we took medication at all. So if any of you out there are like, I hate my medication, I think it's making me worse, talk to your doctor, have them titrate you off. Do not stop on your own. Please, 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 if you're worried, if you have already, call your doctor now and let them know, because I just really worry and it makes me stressed out because it could make us worse before we get better, and there's ways that we can avoid that. Okay? And I hope you're being monitored. So let me know how things are going. Okay, question number 3. Hey Katie, I was told by a psychiatrist that DBT can actually be harmful for a person with autism spectrum disorder and make the self-harm worse. What do you think about that? Is it true? They used to say I had borderline as well as ASD. ASD is autism spectrum disorder. That's what they are calling it. It's all on a spectrum right now in the DSM-5. And I asked about DBT as a treatment for BPD. If you're wondering what BPD is, I have a video on that as well. Borderline personality disorder. You can search it on YouTube. But was denied because of the ASD, and then all of a sudden I no longer have BPD. So pretty much what she's saying is DBT actually harmful for someone with autism spectrum disorder, or is it not? Because they said that she had borderline as well as autism spectrum disorder, and so how do you treat it if one's harmful to the other? Now, I actually had to do a little research on this, and I've spent a little bit of time, and so I'm going to look here because I pulled up a couple different research studies and the abstracts on them. An abstract is just kind of a summary of what the research study is talking about, and then there's some specifics that I'll get into. But autism spectrum disorder is, it really causes us a lot of times to self-harm. We have difficulty with certain making eye contact, certain like social things that go on in our lives. It's really difficult for people. It can be. Everybody's different and everyone falls different on the spectrum. But the most important thing that DBT can help with, and that's why it sounds to me like a modified DBT helps people with autism spectrum disorder, or ASD. So I don't think DBT makes your ASD worse, but I do think it's important to have a physician or clinician, whoever you're seeing, to understand that it has to be modified. Now, in the study that I'd read about, they said that the components of DBT, mindfulness, emotion regulation, interpersonal effectiveness, and distress tolerance could be modified to treat older adolescent and adult population people with ASD. Now it says older adolescent and adult population because we can work more on emotion regulation and stuff like that, which is really difficult for people with ASD. Where when they're younger, because I actually did this. This is one of my first jobs in grad school, was doing ABA treatment with children with autism. So this is when they're young. We do applied behavioral analysis, and because that's best with people who are young. Is this making sense? It's kind of difficult to completely answer this in a short video, but you can do DBT if you have autism spectrum disorder. It's not going to harm you. Just make sure that the person that you see has a knowledge of both autism spectrum disorder and BPD, because it needs to be modified a little bit. There are certain things that'll be more difficult for you because of your ASD, and so those are some of the tools that they will skip and they'll replace with other things to help you regulate your emotion and work on your interpersonal effectiveness so that you can build relationships healthfully and regulate your emotions. And that really is helpful for all of us. And that's really how it works when you have ASD as well as BPD. Okay? I know it's a lot of acronyms and it might be confusing. You may have to rewind it and watch it again, but you can definitely get help for your BPD through using DBT therapy. It just has to be modified a little bit. Okay, journal topic suggestion. This is a quote from Mitch Albom. If anybody hasn't read any of his books or this particular book, For One More Day, he has great books. Okay, this one says, have you ever lost someone you love and wanted one more conversation, one more chance to make up for the time when you thought that they would be here forever? If so, then you know that you can go your whole life collecting days and none will outweigh the one that you wish you had back. If you could have one more conversation with someone, dead or alive, who would it be and what would you say? I think this is really powerful. Oftentimes we forget how fleeting life is and how important it is to touch base with people and to make amends and to reach out and have those conversations that may be a little uncomfortable, or maybe we wish that we had spoken up and told them how much we love them. It's important to remember it while we can do something about it. So get out and let's do something about it. Yeah, and Mitch Albom, he wrote, I think it's called Weekends with Maury, or Tuesdays with Maury. That's what it is. And that's a really good book too. But anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Tomorrow I'll be on the website and YouTube, so ask your questions below today's video as well as on KatiMorton.com, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Love you. Bye.